out and asked if you had read the indictment. You said you read it word for word, page for page, right?
I did. I keep up. I love Jackson.
Even though they've not been in court and they've not been found guilty, it's just an indictment at this point.
They don't see it. My first statement was, think of your family. Think about your family. Put your family first.
I never thought in a million years we would have been put in the situation that we were in. Never. Because we went through our whole career doing the right thing.
It's utterly ridiculous to me. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Othor Cain Show. Happy New Year to you all. Glad to have you here on this cold Tuesday evening. But we are back, brand new shows, and I am excited about being here with you. So thank you for taking time to share with us. Hopefully the audience will grow as we move forward tonight. But we're grateful that you're here. Grateful that you've opted to join with us on this Tuesday. Got a great show lined up for you. We are anticipating a great conversation with Chuck Espy, who is the mayor of Clarksdale, Mississippi. He has opted not to seek re-election, and we'll have a conversation with him coming up in just a little bit. But listen, we have so many exciting things to talk about. Happy New Year to you, Barbara. Glad to have you here with us. We have so many exciting things to share with you about our plans for this year and this season of the show. So we've got lots of good stuff, lots of good stuff, and just a ton of ways how you can be involved with us, how you can support us, how you can be a part of the show as well. So we've got tons of ways, tons of opportunities. We've got some really good stuff to share. With you. One of the things that I am absolutely excited about, and we'll spend a few minutes talking about that now, and that is we've got our SAG to Suits event that is coming up on Saturday, June 14th, and it's going to be at the Old Capitol Inn. So we've got our venue finalized. We're going to be at the Old Capitol Inn, downtown Jackson, over on State Street. This is going to be absolutely amazing. It's our SAG to Suits event, and we are extremely excited. We're extremely excited about the feedback that you've given to us, and we're excited about the feedback that is to come. And so we've got ways for you to get involved and support that. And so here's what we are doing in a nutshell. We are going to take 100 boys, 100 young men from across the metro, right? From around the metro, 100 of them. And we're going to put them in suits, right? SAG to Suits event. We're going to put them in suits, right? And not only are we going to put them in suits, but we're going to pair them with an adult male. So we're going to have 100 young men and 100 adult men, right? And we're going to be at the Old Capitol Inn, and we're going to do this mentoring event, which hopefully will lead to a lifetime of change, a lifetime of relationships, right? So I know what a suit did for me. I know how a suit changed my perspective on men. And garnered a new level of respect that I had for Black men. So I know what a suit did for me. And I believe that if we can change the trajectory of one young man, right? If we can change the trajectory of one young man, then we can change some family dynamics. We can change some things happening in our communities. We can do that. And we can do that with one young man. And so our goal, it's Father's Day weekend. It's that Saturday, right? Our goal is to get in, have some good workshops, get a good lunch and an etiquette session at lunch, right? If we can grab hold of one young man, and if we can partner this young man with an adult male, right? We believe this day will be transformative because we believe this relationship can build and last. All it takes is one. All it takes is one. It takes absolutely just one. And so we need your support. We need your support. We need your support on recommending young men for this. And we're going from elementary to high school, right? We're going elementary to high school. We're doing that elementary to high school, and even perhaps freshmen in college. We're doing that elementary to high school, even into freshmen in college, right? And we need your help. That's what you see on your screen now are sponsorship levels, and I want to, and we'll get to that. But if we could pull up the one that has the QR code to show them how to be a suit sponsor, that would be really good. We need corporate sponsors, and that sponsorship list is what we're sending out to folk, to corporations and businesses that can give us some dollars to help us finance the overall event. But we have ways for everybody to get involved, right? We have ways for everybody to get involved. We need to outfit these young men. And so the sponsorships for the suits, we need that. We need men committed, right? Yes, brothers, we want you to sponsor a suit, but we want you to spend the day with us as well. Because a part of the day will be pairing these young men with these suit sponsors, right? That's going to be part of the day. We'll have a pairing ceremony to kick things off, right? And you'll spend the day with that young man. And hopefully the few hours that we spend together that day will transform into a meaningful relationship. And you know what? Mentoring is not a cookie cutter, and I'm a part of so many mentoring organizations, but I just don't believe in a cookie cutter approach. I believe that mentoring relationships are authentic. I believe that they take work, it takes development, and I believe that men pouring into these young boys will change their lives. And I believe we can begin with a suit. I believe that we can begin with a suit. And so our Sack to Suit event is Saturday, June 14th at the Old Capitol Inn on State Street. It's going to be an amazing opportunity, right? It's going to be an amazing opportunity. And so before we end tonight, we'll have that flyer to share with you because we need your support. Judge Kings, I see your note. Thank you very much, sir. I certainly do appreciate that. Kudos to you. We got to do a check-in with you to see how things are going on the bench with you, right? We've got to do a check-in to see how things are going on the bench with you. And so we appreciate your being a part of that. But honestly, folks, this Sacks to Suit event, it's transformative, right? And it really has the power to transform a young man's life, right? And so we certainly need your support on that and need you to buy into that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that before we get out of here tonight. Now, though, I want to turn to our special guest. I'm excited to welcome Mayor Chuck Espy, who is the current mayor of the town of Clarksdale, Mississippi, as our guest in Cain's Corner tonight. Mayor Espy, are you there? There you are. How are you, sir? Can you hear me, brother? I see you, but I don't hear you. Mayor, you may need to back out and come back in and re-enter. Having a little technical difficulties there, so we'll see if we can get him back out and then brought back in. You know, it's interesting as we work out those technical difficulties. It's interesting that while I was promoting the fact that Mayor Espy was going to be with us tonight, you know, I learned of a couple of other folk running for mayors in other parts of the state. My dear friend Sonia Williams Barnes is running for mayor in Gulfport, and I'm excited about that and excited to talk to her about her quest to become mayor of Gulfport. That seat is currently held by a white male, a white Republican male. And so for this African-American Democratic woman to take on that task of trying to become mayor of Gulfport, that's very interesting. I'm very excited about that. And also while promoting Brother Espy being here, I learned that Percy Bland is seeking re-election. I think he was mayor before in Meridian, and then I think maybe he lost, or he either lost or didn't seek another term. I can't remember, but he is running again to become mayor again over in Meridian, Mississippi. So I'm excited to know that as well. And so our goal this year, if you've not heard, our goal this year is to ensure that the Othor Cain Show is statewide. Our goal is to become statewide by the end of the second quarter of this year. I'm believing God for that. I certainly hope that you will join us in our quest to become a statewide show. That's our goal, to become a statewide show. And so I know it's a legislative session. I know there are lots of receptions on Tuesdays and Thursdays that we'll be competing with. But we've got to bite the bullet. We've got to hammer down. We've got to stay focused. You know, we've got to drive this thing home. We've got to do that. And again, our goal is to become statewide by the end of the second quarter. And I believe that we can do it, right? I envision being able to have somebody in every corner of the state being able to act as reporters and call in and we cover stories all across this state. Here's what I know. And it is our desire and our quest to change this. Here's what I know for sure. There is not a medium in the African American community that covers the entire state, that canvasses the entire state. Fragmented in sections, yes. You know, and like even for us, we've primarily focused mainly on central Mississippi, but not statewide. And so the goal is to ensure that we are all across the state by the end of the second quarter. I see Mayor Espy there. Let's see. Sounds like he can hear me as well.
Yeah, man. Hey, had some technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi.
I understand, brother. I understand. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year. It's always good to see you, my friend.
Man, it's great to see you, man. It's even better to have an opportunity to sit and to chat with you. And so, man, I wanna just dive right into this thing. I want to dive right into it. So, you know, prior to becoming mayor of Clarksdale, you spent some time at the Capitol. And I didn't really realize that you spent nearly 16 years at the Capitol, man. So were you like the youngest person at the Capitol at the time? You're not even 50 years old now. So were you like 13 when you were at the Capitol?
And it's funny, man. Listen, I remember that time I was 23 years old.
23. Uh-oh, we lost you.
You know, That was a big deal, man. To go down there,
So you were 23. You
to
were
go
one of the
down.
youngest, if not the youngest, huh?
That's right. That's right, man. I think Clayton Henderson was the youngest from Tunica County.
Okay.
I think he got me by 1 year.
Wow. 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 Man, talk to me about being 23 years old at the state capitol, brother. Talk to me about that experience.
Well, let me say this. I came behind a very interesting figure in Mississippi, Dr. Aaron E. Henry. And he was the state representative as I was growing up in his church, Haven United Methodist Church. And to see him talk about those issues and to be such a civil rights icon and to watch him pass, the torch was needed to be passed in District 26. And the people of that church said, Chuck, you fit the mold. You talk the talk, and we need some new energy. And so I went down there with the spirit and the legacy of Dr. Aaron E. Henry in mind. And so I had some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And coming behind Mike Espy and my dad, Henry Espy, and Tom Espy, the Espy legacy sometimes is hard to live up to those standards. So I was constantly, I couldn't enjoy the moment, and in which I wish I could go back to my younger self and say embrace the moment. But you remember, we first came into a very controversial scenario when I was at that Capitol, when Ronnie Musgrove had to be elected by the House of Representatives.
Yes.
And so it was a very interesting moment. So the speaker called me into the office, and I said I didn't know if I was going to vote for Ronnie Musgrove. And they said, what? And Charlie Capps, chairman of appropriation, was shocked with Tim Ford. And they immediately called Musgrove to the state capitol. They said, this young Espy doesn't know if he's going to support you or not. And Ronnie Musgrove walked into the room, and I said, Governor, and he wasn't the governor at the time. I said, Governor, I said, you told me on the campaign trail that you may not need the younger Espy to support you. You had all of the other Espys. And he said he may not need me. And so he turned red in the face in front of Tim Ford and Charlie Capps, and he apologized, and he said, Espy, I need you now.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that moment. I had the governor asking me for help. And, I was going to just make him sweat for a minute and try to get something out of the district for the district. But he actually asked me for his help, and I voted for him, and he became governor of the state of Mississippi.
That's incredible, man. That's an incredible story. He had to eat humble pie a little bit and come back around, right?
He did, man. He did.
That's an incredible story. 23 years old, 16 years at the state capitol, man. And that was a big deal, the Ronnie Musgrove thing issue. But you had a couple of large lifts that you were able to lift at the capitol, right?
Yeah. Remember the CHIPS program, and it's so common to see children in the Mississippi Delta to have quality health care. But during that time, when I first came to the Capitol, the Children's Health Insurance Program, commonly known as CHIP, was not predominantly enforced throughout the entire Delta. We had to increase the poverty line, the ratio of income. And we did this, and that was a major piece of legislation that I was able to push. I authored the legislation, I pushed it, and some of the other lawmakers there at the time thought that a 23-year-old representative should not come in and author such a major piece of legislation. But the help of Linda Coleman, Francis Fredericks, Ed Blackman, so many people were able to help out. And we actually passed the bill, and many, many children had access to quality health care. So that was one of my bigger moments. And Leonard Morris, God rest his soul, he passed away some years ago. He helped me get my first $1 million for the city of Clarksdale. And at that time, man, I didn't even know where the bathroom was at the state capitol, but I had so many people that were so willing to help me, and they saw my energy and they saw my passion, and District 26 benefited from so many people helping me to become a great lawmaker. And but I did my time. I did my very best. And after the Haley Barbour administration came in like a whirlwind, and Haley Barbour was so much of a dominating force that he polarized the entire Capitol. He has my respect, but there were better days before the Haley Barbour days. Everyone was not defined as a Republican or a Democrat. Everyone was just commingling as Republicans and Democrats. But when Haley came in, if you were a Republican, you were on this side. If you were a Democrat, you were on this side. And the Espy family has always been in the happy medium of Democrats and Republicans. And so when that came about, I started to lose a little traction at the state capitol because everyone was starting to be defined.
Right.
And you can't define me as just a one shoe fit all kind of a Democrat. And I definitely was not a Republican, but I worked so well with Republicans. And as you see now at the state capitol, the board lights up with everyone's name under a majority or a minority.
Right.
And when I saw that happening, I knew that it was my time had passed at the state capitol, and I knew that there was no need for the bridge builder mentality. And so I started to set my eyes back on my community that needed a lot of help. And but thank God that I served at that state capitol with so many people. And I'm talking about Tim Ford. He's passed away, but those type of people allowed me to grow and to be defined as not Mike Espy's nephew or Henry Espy's son. I began to have my own identity at that state capitol, but the thrust of my education came from that place, and I'm very thankful.
Let me tell you something, man. You said sometimes it's hard to live up to that SB expectation or feel those SB shoes. But brother, you did quite well at that Capitol, right?
I appreciate it.
You did extremely, extremely well. It's funny because I think that I interviewed you 1,000 times while you were at the Capitol. I never knew this was your exit story,
Yeah.
until now. And that is absolutely amazing. And it's extremely smart to me, right? I think far too often we get caught up with labels, right? And far too often people attempt to box us into one category, brother. But I did not know that was the beginning of your exodus there. That's a remarkable story. But trust me, you lived up to the name and you fulfilled all of the Espy's expectations. And so from 16 years at the state capitol, you set your sights going back home and taking on a job that your dad had done for quite some time and quite well. Talk about fulfilling expectations.
Yeah, well, we made a little history here in Clarksdale. My father served for over 30 plus years here in the city of Clarksdale, and we made history. And I didn't know this until after I got elected, that we were the first father and son to ever be mayor in this city. And so that was a little historical moment. But let me share with you, and I love to tell these type of stories because, I hope someone can learn from them and grow. I used to sit back in the chamber, and I used to watch my dad in the center seat as mayor of the city. And I used to tell him, Dad, you could have done this, and you could have done that. You could have said this, or you could have done this. And man, I was so critical of my dad because I wanted to get it right for the people of Clarksdale. And he used to sit back and he was very patient with me. And he would just say, son, it's a different story when you're in that center seat. And I said, no, Dad, no, I know what the people want. And we would have these robust debates after Monday board meeting. And I didn't know that he was actually helping me to grow as a politician. And man, lo and behold, when I became mayor and had to sit in that center seat, it's a tough job, a very tough job. And I had
And
to
you
take,
thought about how wrong you were in terms of the advice you had given your dad, right?
man, he said, how do you feel now? He said, all of the decisions you have to make. I said, Dad, I was way too hard on you. I said, man, I love you because I know I was putting pressure on you that you didn't have to have. And I said, Dad, this is the toughest job I've ever had in my life. In my life.
Wow. Wow. Listen, speaking of sitting in that center seat, when you came on board as mayor, y'all had some ring dang doodles of meetings, right? Look, I thought the ruckus in Jackson was bad. But you walked into a firing den. But look at where you are now. Let's talk about what you walked into and where you are now.
Well, Othor, I know you remember, but a lot of your viewers don't. And race relations is a very tough thing throughout the nation,
Right.
and let alone we're talking about the state of Mississippi. When I first walked into this office as mayor, the very first thing that was on my desk right over here, and I'm pointing over there, but it was right on a couch. And no one else had been in this office. So the very first day I opened the door, it was a sign. It was a sign on the couch that said, vote white, on my couch.
Wow.
And I'd never seen anything like that before. And, I never experienced someone leaving something to send you a message. And, it was a very contested election. It was against the former mayor who had passed away now, and his name is Bill Luckett.
You're lucky.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Bill Luckett. He ran for governor of the state, and he came back to Clarksdale, and he was the mayor. And you remember him, and very close friends with Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Had connections with the Blues, Ground Zero.
Right.
And when he first won, I said that, how can you go wrong with you and Morgan Freeman getting ready to lead the city, And they took us down a path, and Bill Luckett took us down a path that I call the Tale of Two Cities. And, the railroad tracks dividing the black community over with the white community. And it was actually the tale of two cities: high crime in the black community, peaceful suburbs in the white community. And, no jobs to have an affluent lifestyle in the white community. And so I highlighted that in my campaign. And I told everyone that this office will primarily be for the least of these, the people that do not have access. And I said, the affluent, you don't need me. The affluent people have lawyers that they can pay. They can see doctors. They can pay all of their doctor visits, and they travel around the world. I was very clear. The affluent does not need me. It's the people that are fighting to pay utility bills, that are fighting for day-to-day access to government. And I made sure that campaign was rawly about access. And we gave access over these years to so many people. So it was contested right out the gate. I fired a couple people on day one, and a lot of people didn't like those decisions. But I made sure that the makeup of this city was reflected in city government. And that was very important to me because it was almost like a lopsided scenario. And it was a sense of, well, let me just give you the best example I can give you. In the last 4 years before I became mayor, 0 African Americans had contracts in the city of Clarksdale. 0. And when I became mayor, it became more of a 60-40 ratio where African Americans received contracts with the city of Clarksdale.
Wow.
So that tells you what we were up against and what was happening. So imagine city government, no African Americans were at the table. 0. And we
Wow.
made it 60-40
Now,
when we took off.
okay. So here's what I don't know. Here's what I don't know. So I know your dad was the mayor there, but here's what I don't know. Are you the only second African American mayor in Clarksdale? You're the only
Yes.
second one.
Yes.
Your dad was mayor from when to when?
Oh God, Othor, I don't want to give you the exact year. Gosh, he was a city commissioner for a long time, and if I have this correct, it was the 1990, 1989
Like,
when he.
was it like 89 when he left?
Oh no. It was all the way. He lost to a individual by the name of Richard Webster, and then they went backwards and forward. And I think Dad's last time was 2012.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, he was his last day in office was June of 2012,
Wow.
and
And so
then Bill
you're
Luckett
only the
took over.
second African American mayor of Clarksdale, with the first being your dad.
Yes,
Wow. Yeah. Now that I did not know. That piece of history I did not know. And so you took office in 17 there, right?
correct,
You took
correct.
office in 17, and in 2017, not one African American had a contract with the city.
0,
In 2017.
0,
Wow.
0,
Wow.
0. And that's unfortunate. That is a sad state of what's happening in so many areas throughout the Delta. And and the sad part is that we had to actually have training for some African Americans to be prepared to get the contract because so many of our vendors were not prepared. So we actually had to have some clinics, tutorials,
Yeah.
and to help them to get their license or their bonding. And that's a sad state of where we were in 2017.
That's so interesting, man. That's so interesting to me. You talk about training and helping. It's 2025, and
Yep.
I am working on putting an event just like that together for Hinds County today.
Wow.
You know, there are several factors, some just not knowing how and not having the capacity, and others just being blocked, left out, and just gave up and never tried to get the things that they need. So
Remember this, and this is why I am not hard or critical on our people. If you just look back in history, and just go back 200 years, just look at the historical numbers. You had white affluent leadership. They had generations of doctors and lawyers, generations, fourth, fifth generations of doctors and lawyers today.
right.
In the African American community, we're just now in the second generation of having the ability to have the affluent nature of doctors, lawyers, accountants. And so if you're talking about if this was a race, 100-meter race, well, 100 years ago, let's say that was the marker, where it sounds like that they got a 80-meter head start.
Yep.
And so, and this is why I'm so helpful to our people, because we're playing catch up, and we're getting there though. We're getting there.
So and I'm with you 100%. Not to blame, right, but to help,
That's
right? To
That's
empower,
right.
not to blame. Because when you really look at it, 200 something years ago is not that far off, right?
Correct.
And because we are always in catch up mode, right? We have to work harder, and we have to absolutely do more. Let's talk about let's talk about some of your accomplishments in Clarksdale, right? So one big thing is you reset the tone. You recreated the vibe of these meetings. How did you go about going from extremely contentious meetings to meetings now that are harmonious?
Well, I used the Tim Ford method, who was the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He would always tell me in the chamber that even the ones, I said, Tim, how do you take so many people wanting to talk and wanting to say something? And he said, even the Don Quixotes of the world have a right to speak. And so, using that philosophy, I did not fight commissioners. I wanted them to have their voice represented. And so I gave everyone an opportunity to speak. It's technically their meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I'm only there to facilitate. And so over the last 7.5 years, my relationship with our commissioners has been very peaceful because I know that they represent the constituency base just like I do. So I respect their opinions. Sometimes we disagree, but at the majority of the times, if you give everyone an opportunity to say their piece and to respect their opinions, they will respect you at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And that's how I've been able to lead. And we've had a peaceful environment.
That's good stuff, man. That's absolutely good stuff. Well, I know one of the other things that you're very, 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 very proud of is that you got your budget under control, right? when you leave office, the next mayor does not have to come in and worry about being in a deficit, right? Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. When I first walked into city government, the reserve funds were very low for a city our size. And I knew that I had to make sure that I needed to increase services, but not to raise any taxes. So over 7.5 years, I never raised a tax on the people of Clarksdale. And at the end of the day, I did more with less. And so I went after more grants. I'm very thankful that Senator Wicker's office, a individual came out of Senator Wicker's office to work on my team. And her name is Millicent Dixon. And she is a powerhouse. She was able to go after millions of dollars worth of grants. And just about every grant, I would say probably 95% of the grants that we went after, we received it.
That's awesome.
We worked out of Congressman Thompson's office. We got the assistance that we needed. So on day one, I wasn't at City Hall looking for the bathroom. I knew exactly what needed to be done, and I knew how to cut my budget, and I knew how to generate additional dollars for the city. So as the next mayor gets ready to come into this great city, they're going to have a robust general fund, a reserve fund, and if they manage it well, it's some tough times that is probably going to come in the next year. If they do great stewardship, and if they trust the department heads, and if everyone stays, so remember this, Othor, on day one, I would not allow anyone to write a check without seeing me if it was over $200.
Really?
Because the spending had just run aground, overtime had run aground. So I had to micromanage right out the gate. Now, a lot of people did not like that when I walked in the door, but it was a way to get control of that budget.
Right.
And it made me have to work 16-hour days, but I didn't care because I had a point that I was trying to prove.
Absolutely. 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 What has been your biggest challenge in the office of mayor?
That's really interesting. I hate to say it, race relations is still the challenge.
Really?
It is still the challenge. Even when you have the majority of the board, I don't know if this is the post Donald Trump era. some people are built maybe just to distract you and to destroy. And we had a lot of people during the last 5 years, and their entire mission was to just seek and destroy, delay, stop, try to stall, lie. And it was unbelievable. It was very taxing, very tiring to see a group of people to actually want to stop progress for a city. They were shooting themselves in their own foot, and it was unbelievable to watch this happen. Um, but I don't know. Maybe I was too much of the warrior. I was too much of the fighter for them, and they may be used to a mayor that was not as opinionated as me. And but you know, race relations, I would say, is still the challenge, and it's unfortunate. But maybe those people will see now that they have a lot of money that I'm leaving them, and they can do a lot of good. And but I hope they give the next mayor a fair shake, and to really be open minded, because we had a lot of people sabotaging projects that we were doing, just in the sake of just stall, delay to try to throw him off. And it's that's a sad report, but it's the truth.
Right,
It's the
right,
truth.
right. So when you wrap up these next few months, your time there, you would have done how many terms as mayor? 2 or 3?
Two,
Two,
two
two
terms.
terms. It
Two
feels
terms.
like it's been so much longer than that.
It does.
God, it feels like it's been so much longer than that. So you would have ended 2 terms. Tell me this: what's the percentage black and white in Clarksdale?
You basically have a city that's 78% African American.
78.
78%.
78% African American, but yet race relations still remains one of the most pressing issues.
Absolutely.
What
It's
about poverty in Clarksdale?
say that again.
What about poverty? How does poverty look?
Oh, well, we're not at the bottom. Our numbers are looking good. I just don't know the exact stat on poverty itself. But at the end of the day, we had 375 new jobs.
Yeah.
We had the IRS to come in. Basically, we did 80 new jobs, and 80 more coming. So the opportunity is here, and we made sure of that. And I'm very thankful for all of the players. In previous administrations, there was no creation of jobs in Clarksdale, and we were just fortunate. And maybe before I leave office, we may hit the 400 number.
That's incredible.
And other cities, our neighboring city, like in Batesville, Mississippi, Batesville just lost 300 jobs. And when you hear those type of numbers of loss in a neighboring city, you're just hoping and praying that it's not your turn for something like that in the city of Clarksdale.
How far is Batesville from Clarksdale?
35 minutes.
Got it. Now, did I read correctly? The city's credit ratings improved under your watch.
Absolutely. We were able to work with Butler Snow Law Firm. They were a big asset to us in this administration with our bond rating. So you're talking about having that legislative background, having the connections. I'm going to use a name here like Trey Harrison.
I was going to call Trey's name. I know that's his forte, man.
Hey, man, listen, Trey knew, and thank God I had a relationship with him right out the gate. He knew exactly what the city needed, how to do it, and how fast we could get it done. And it was really the pace that we were moving here in Clarksdale was almost unbelievable because we knew what we needed to do immediately. And so Trey,
I think, and I hate to cut you off, but just to add to that, I think not only you're knowing what you needed to do, and how to do it, I think you brought very valuable relationships to that office when you came, right?
That's
Very
right.
relationships matter. You brought very, very valuable relationships to the office. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I hate to say it, but you would think that if people just put their best effort, good things will happen. That's just not true. You have to have relationships.
Yes.
The people at the Mississippi Development Authority, having their number on speed dial, having the governor, having the lieutenant governor, knowing the legislative process, and I'm not sure how many mayors really understand how there is a symphony that happens with municipalities and what happens at the state capitol and how you can get assistance. And Mississippi Development Authority was a big asset to the city of Clarksdale, and it was because I knew the people there as I left the Capitol. So, it's just really, I hate to say it, it is about relationships, but you have to have a plan and you have to go to work. And we went to work.
Absolutely, absolutely. So relationships are important, but you're absolutely right. You got to have a vision, you got to have a plan, and you got to know how to implement the plan. So, man, that's wow, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. Wow, man, you're not even 50 years old, and
I'm getting close.
you're not even 50, brother. You're walking away from all this. You're going on to the retirement horizon, man. Come on, man.
Retirement. Oh my goodness.
50 years old, man. Come on, man. You can't do that.
No, I'm not retiring, man. I'm definitely not retiring. But Othor, look, let me say this to you, man. Knowing people like you and being able to serve, I watched so many political people over my history. And, we have to be careful as African American leaders. And the spotlight is always on us.
Always on.
Always. And, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not saying it to say it, but I'm trying to make a very good point for all of the young Black leaders that are coming. You can't be in public and coming out driving and drinking and driving. You cannot have a history of trying to have relationships with so many people and putting your business out in the street. There are so many people that are watching and trying to find out what the next Chuck Espy is not doing right. If he's doing something wrong, they're recording my conversations. They're tracking me where I go. I had a person the other day. They saw that I was selling one of my rental properties, and the biggest rumor that came, they said Chuck Espy's leaving Clarksdale.
Oh my God.
So Othor, what I'm trying to say, we have to be really, really careful.
Right.
And we have to be on point.
At all times.
At all times. At all times. And I encourage so many people that are running for office and offering themselves. I'm not saying that you're not human, but you have to be professional at all times. And
Absolutely.
that's the only way that you can survive as long as I've survived. And thank God that I have survived this long.
I absolutely agree, man. I absolutely agree. Let me just tell you this: since you're not riding the wave into retirement, you do have until the end of this month to move to Jackson and qualify to run for mayor in Jackson.
Oh man. Hey man, Jackson is, man, I've been watching Hinds County as a whole, and all of my family's there, and I'm there just about every week.
Right.
And man, I just, my heart hurts, man, when I see so many friends and so many issues that are happening.
Right.
And God knows, man, I love every one of those guys, and I'm not going to call their names, but
right.
And you know how close I've been to a lot of these guys.
Absolutely, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
man, my heart just goes out to them, and I wish them the best, man. And remember, I've come from a background where my father and my uncle, they were indicted,
Right, right,
and that taught me some valuable lessons,
right.
And thank God, they were exonerated on all charges, and I really hope that that's the same that will happen to all of these other black leaders, that they're exonerated. Um, and I wish them the best, man. I really,
Absolutely,
God knows, I wish them the best.
absolutely. Chuck, how were you really able to, though, to stay above the fray? How
Um,
how have you been able to maintain and do that?
well, I'm gonna always tell you the truth and be very honest, because I know that people are listening, and someone may take the lesson. Um, when my father was indicted and he was completely exonerated, I watched the prosecutor. I mean, the I guess the individuals that were coming out of D.C. And man, the guy was in the bathroom. He was on his phone, and he said, "My mission is to crush these guys financially and destroy their name." And he said this. He said this on a phone call in the bathroom in Oxford, Mississippi. I'll never forget it. And the judge came back and said that my dad, they threw all of the charges out, and the guy said, that my whole case is gone, but their mission was to cripple you financially
Mm.
and to destroy your name. And that stuck with me my entire career. And I'll never forget, I was in the hall of the Capitol one day, and this individual that I had never seen before in my life, black individual, black male, I'll never forget his face. I was on the second floor of the Capitol, and he knew that I had some financial issues. And he actually said to me in that great Capitol, he said, "Espy, if you do this legislation for me, I'll take care of all of your financial debt." And Othor, in that moment, I leaned into him and I said, "There is nothing that you can do for me financially when it comes down to me introducing legislation. You could never," and I said it so clearly so he can understand. "For the record," I said, "there is not one penny that you could give me other than the paycheck that the people pay me to do anything at this state capitol."
Mm.
And I said, "That is the wrong thing to say to me." And Othor, I was still in that capitol for the next 4 years, and I never saw that guy again.
Wow,
Never saw him again.
wow, wow.
Never saw him.
And it's easy to Monday morning quarterback. I get all of
That's
it.
right.
But here's what I do know. I do know, as elected officials, you are human,
That's
right?
right.
And you want some degree of privacy, and you want to be able to, live your life. You just got to figure out how to do all of that within the confinements of maintaining a decent office, right? You got to be able to live. You got to be able to support your families, right? So I get it. I get it. It can be tough and lonely staying above the fray. It can
Right.
be a tough and lonely.
And Othor, you know how you do it? You get up every morning. I start my morning out at about 5:15 every morning. I pray. I get up. I go to work. I work hard. We have our funeral home business, and I have politics. And sometimes I dabble in a little real estate here and there. And you know what I do? I work hard, and I live within my means.
Mhm.
That's what I do. So I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I'm Chuck, and I live within my means, and that's what keeps me balanced every single day.
That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Any regrets at all? Having been in public office all of these years, any regrets?
Um, to be very honest, when I look back, I may have stayed in the Capitol 4 years too long.
Really?
Yep, yep. When I'm a firm believer when you do not have more to offer
Mm.
and you sit in a chair and you start sipping on coffee, you need to leave. You need to leave. And so I was caught in the middle of transitioning, and I didn't know what I was really looking at that time. And I stayed at the Capitol 4 years too long, and it's a shelf life, okay? And my shelf life was probably 12 years at the Capitol. And just like I've served the people for 8 years here as mayor of the city of Clarksdale, when you have given all that you can give,
Mm.
and when you leave it all on the table,
Mm.
it's time for someone else in this marathon. You pass it, and you hope they run just as hard as you did. And so I'm going to say this: I'm not for term limits. I'm not for that. But I think we all have to be mindful that once you have given your very, very best, you should not sit in the office and hold the seat just because you're interested in your ego or a title. You need to move on.
Wow. Those are words of wisdom, brother. You know, as you was talking, I was thinking, man, he speaks like an old soul, but he's so
Yeah.
young, but he speaks like an old soul, man. And you've always been that way, right? This is nothing new. You've always been this way, brother. You've always been this way. Man, you know, I don't profess to be a biblical scholar, but I will say to you, well done. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Well,
Yes, sir.
man, well done.
But I'm looking forward to the future.
So what is next?
Well, you know,
We've ruled
politics.
out we've ruled out retirement. So what's
We
next?
ruled out retirement. That's out. But to be honest with you, man, sometimes you have to take a deep breath, and come up and smell the roses. Listen, my family has been taxed for years with the burden of politics. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a moment, maybe about 6 months, regroup. I'm going to check on my family. I'm going to make sure my kids are good. I'm going to make sure my wife is good. I'm talking about mentally and physically.
Yes.
And make sure that there's a wellness check in our home.
Yeah.
And regroup. I have kids. I have daughters are in law school right now.
Wow.
And I'm going to check on them, spend a little time in Baton Rouge. One is in Baton Rouge at Southern University at my
You're
old alma mater.
right. Yeah.
That's right. She's in law school there. And we're going to take a little time to smell the roses. But, Othor, I'm going to be honest with you. Serving is just in my blood.
Yeah.
It's in my blood, and I love to serve the people. I love to help. I'm thankful for the people allowing me to serve. But I have a feeling the best is yet to come.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Well, man, listen, you've served well, right? And I know there's more in you to give. I know wherever you land next, I feel confident in saying you will continue serving wherever you land. It will be a service oriented role, and wherever you go, wherever you land, I know you'll do well, man. I appreciate you being here, man. I absolutely appreciate you being here. I want to give you an opportunity to just offer some parting words, either to the incoming mayor or just to the city of Clarksdale as a whole. But the floor is yours for your closing thoughts.
Yeah, man, listen, now, the only thing I can say is that it's really about relationships. I'm thankful for the big thanks is, and I'm going to tell you this one. No one ever knew my mother Vicky. She was behind every political campaign at the kitchen table. When I first ran for state representative, it was the two of us figuring it out. And I know that I am blessed with a wonderful family, and I am so thankful to have my wife, my mother, my dad, my children, and you have to really thank them because the nights that is really tough and you're it's lonely at the top, and when it's that lonely, it takes a toll on your family, and so my hat is off to them. I love them, and at the end of the day, the people have allowed me to fly all around the world and bring all of this knowledge back to the Mississippi Delta. And man, I am just elated. But I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to relax for about 6 months. And then we're going to probably come back and revisit some level of service to the people of Mississippi. But man, I just want to tell everyone thank you. And I'm proud of what we have done. And I'm proud of serving people. And hopefully I can continue to serve in some capacity in the near future.
And you've served well, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Kudos to you, my brother. Kudos to you. Thank you for being here.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the Honorable Mayor Chuck Espy, Mayor of Clarksdale, Mississippi, who opted not to seek reelection, taking a well-deserved break, spending some time with his family and doing a wellness check, as he acknowledged, for himself and his family. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. You know, I think what really makes me proud as we prepare to wrap up, what really makes me proud about the likes of a Chuck Espy is that he is young, right? And he defies the odds of what folk think of young leadership. He defies that odd. And so, job well done. Man, whoever follows him, they've got a tough, tough, tough act to follow. A tough act to follow. So again, thank you, Mayor Espy, for being our first guest this year in Cain's Corner. We certainly do appreciate that. We want to leave you with another quick reminder of our Sags to Suit event that's coming up on Saturday, June the 14th. Sags to Suits, man, it is going to be something good. That's the flyer. 100 men donating 100 suits for 100 young men. And of course, ladies, you can donate as well. A ton of you have reached out. We are now going strong and full steam ahead promoting this. If you scan that QR code, it'll give you all the information you need to become one of our suit sponsors. Come on, man, let's invest in these young men. I am telling you, if we can change the trajectory of one young man, we can change this community. We can change families. We can change lives. And so this mentoring event on Saturday, June 14th, is going to be transformative. We're changing lives. I'm telling you, man. And what this event is designed to do is to connect a young man with an adult male for a lifetime of a relationship, right? I'm an adult and I still have mentors because it's important, because we can't do anything by ourselves. Gloria says, thank you, Othor, for bringing this interview to us. Chuck Espy is a one of a kind politician knowing how to take care of business and hearts without compromising moral convictions. I absolutely agree, Gloria. Thank you for always being here, Gloria, and thank you for your support. Guys, listen, Sags to Suits. Tell somebody. Buy into this with us. Take this journey with us. You can be an event sponsor. You can be a suit sponsor. The QR code there shows you how to be a suit sponsor. If you want to help us produce this event and get these young men, we've got other ways and other levels for you to be involved. But we need you. We need to get 100 men from across the metro, 100 boys from across the metro. Yazoo, Jackson, Vicksburg. Come on, let's get these boys in suits. Let's get these boys in suits. Let's get some mentors in front of them. Let's impart some life skills in front of them, into them, right? Into them. Let's impart some life skills into them. We have an opportunity to transform lives, but we cannot do it without your help. We need you. All right? So we were supposed to do hot topics tonight, but it's 9:07, so we're going to get those hot topics in. Well, can I do one? Let me just do one. Let me just do one hot topic, and we'll get out of here, right? The level of disrespect that senator out of Nebraska's, her husband, showed to Vice President Harris on January the 6th was utterly disgusting. You can say what you want. You can believe these pundits all you want. This election was never about the economy. It was never about the high prices of your groceries. It was not about the economy. It was not about her policies. It was about hate. It was about bigotry. It was about racism. And it was about them wanting to be in absolute control. That's what this race was about. And I am telling you, these next 4 years are going to be hell. Do you realize that we've practically forgotten what happened January the 6th? But I bet you if people of color had rioted that Capitol like those people did, we would still be talking about it. I think we got a clip of the utter disrespect that this Bruce guy extended to Vice President Harris. If we got that clip, let's play that now before we get out of here.
Hi. Do you want to come here, Bruce? No. Yeah, we'll wait. Don't worry. Okay. Do you solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States? Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you. Congratulations to you. Thank you. Okay, sure. Okay.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The look of contentment, in his face. Just unbelievable. That level of disrespect in 2025. Just unbelievable. But she handled it gracefully. She handled it professionally. And just like the stateswoman she is, she handled that. Me, on the other hand, I probably would have wanted to lay some hands. Like for real, lay some hands on this guy. Blatant disrespect. You've not seen anything yet. You've not seen anything yet. I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with this. Never dim your light in order for someone else to shine. Our greatness is also our greatest threat. Our greatness is when others consider weapons of mass destruction. But I urge you, never stop being great. Never stop being great. Our greatness is also our blessing. Our greatness is also our gateway. Never stop being great. That's our broadcast for tonight. From all of us here at the Othor Cain Show. Have a great night.
I think you hear them coming through. This is the Jackson State University Marching Band. They performed in the halftime show at the Super Bowl last year under the direction of Roderick Little.
Yeah, known as the sonic boom of the South, this band is filled with unmatched sportsmanship and a unique blend of pageantry and funk, and they are loud coming in here.
Gotta bring that funk. Let's enjoy for a second.
Now, what I love about Jackson State, any HBCU, you have a football game. A lot of the fans don't go to watch the football game. They go to see the halftime performance. And this is an example of what you see when you go to a historically black college and university.
Yeah.
The band and the way they get down. And shout out to Jackson State, their football team. I'm going to give them some love, too.
Okay.
They did win the Celebration Bowl this year.
Yes, they did. Get ready to get ready.
Okay, we can hit that C sharp.
Oh, man, they're having a great time out there. Perfect song for the new year. You know, get ready because here we come, right? Let's take a moment to enjoy.
Coach Taylor is my family. We related. I found that out somewhere down the line, Mississippi. We connected. So,
wow.
Shout out to Coach Taylor.
Mississippi. Man, shout out to Coach T.C. Taylor, man. And not a lot of attention needs to be or is on this topic when it should be. Man, Jackson State has been 18-6 since the departure of Prime. But this year alone, they're 11-2 and 8-0 in conference play. To be able to still keep the trajectory of that program going up, man, I tip my hat to you, Coach Taylor, man. Appreciate it.
I totally agree with you.